Welcome to our interview series where we speak to champions of digital trust. Who are you and why should we trust you?
My name is Arielle Garcia. I recently founded ASG Solutions, which is an advisory and consulting firm focused on privacy, responsible data use, and helping marketers drive sustainable growth through responsible practices. And people should trust me because I recently very, very loudly quit my job. I was previously a privacy and responsibility officer at Worldwide, which is a global media agency. I quit my job via op-ed. And in that op-ed, I talk about the fact that, the industry is just desperately clinging to a status quo of unchecked and unregulated data collection and use and facing insurmountable competing interests and conflicting loyalties that keep them clinging to that status quo. And so I left in order to be able to use my voice in order to be able to be part of the solution and to have the independence that I believe is required to drive that change.
That's incredible. And we were just talking before you joined, Lydia, about exactly that, because we've both spent a lot of time in the media industry on the ad tech side, and all power to you. So second question, how do you contribute to trust in the digital world?
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about this, and I mentioned before that one of the key reasons that I felt the need to leave is to be able to use my voice as I deem fit. So one of the areas that I'm focused on right now is what I'm calling harnessing the power of sunlight. This can happen within organizations as well, right? Like fostering true education and awareness around not just privacy as a compliance imperative, but responsible data use from the standpoint of the impact that it has on people. Now, what I'm trying to do is raise that awareness more broadly. And so that can take many forms, right? In part, that's what I'm doing through my consultancy work. In part, that's what I'm doing through my writing, which I intend to do more of. But the purpose of that is really to foster broader dialogue and bring awareness to things that people, especially within the ad industry, just aren't thinking about. Right. It's not something that they're thinking about day to day. There's a tendency within the advertising industry in particular to focus on the intent of what they're doing versus the impact that it has on people, on society, on democracy, right? And I know that it can be uncomfortable for marketers, for agencies, to understand the role that they play in some of these harms, right? But that's something that's really critical for us to move forward. And so what I'm trying to do there is to raise awareness, start that conversation and keep it going in order to get us to a place where there's momentum for finding solutions.
That is excellent. So the last question, if you had a magic wand, what would be the one thing you would change in the digital world?
So I'm going to cheat and have 1.5 because the one doesn't work without the other half. So I would say banning surveillance advertising, but that has to be paired with breaking up or heavily regulating big tech. The reason I say that is because the devil's in the details, right? When you say surveillance advertising and the large dominant platforms are the ones that have positioned themselves to have first party access to everyone's data. One of the things that I like to say around this, I actually reiterated this in my op-ed, is we talk about the notice and choice regime, but I would love to understand what choice people actually have today. Like, what does choice look like? Does it mean not using your map app? Does it mean not having a phone? Does it mean not using your credit card? Like, they actually have no choice, right? And so those two things need to be hand in hand. The reason that I think that banning surveillance advertising is what's critical is that commercial data collection and use, the same data collection and use that underpins the entire digital economy, is the data collection and use that also causes harm, that is causing publishers to struggle, that is causing democracy to die. So I think that these things are all interconnected, and the most impactful thing that could happen is a ban on surveillance advertising. And I will say, like, At the same time, I've watched it really ingrain some of the backwards incentive structures, right? So I was at an event last week, and the way I characterized it was marketers have gotten to a point where they're paying for bad data to reach fake people on unsafe websites while democracy dies, you know? And there's this like illusion of performance based on metrics that aren't telling the true story, that prop all of this up. And so while it sounds like what I'm saying would make it more difficult for marketers, that's not actually the case, right? This is about deconstructing an illusion that has been just as harmful for marketers and their investment as it has been for their customers and the society that we all live in.
I couldn't agree more. I am on a panel on Thursday at University College London talking about democratic resilience in the age of AI. It's something I feel very strongly about, having worked with media agencies and understanding how adverts are targeted to people and how that's then been used to target them with manipulative disinformation that does everything from decide what dog food we get, to what job we get, to where our kids go to school, to everything about our lives. The internet is now the window through which we experience the world, and that's been gamed and manipulated by big corporations. And we do not have a freedom of choice anymore. So I 100% agree with you. I don't know if it's just Nita Farani's a good friend of yours, or Susie Allegri is someone that you should definitely connect with, because you share almost identical views. She's got a great book out at the moment called Freedom to Think. It's fantastic. How can people find out more about what you're doing? How can they get in touch with you?
Reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, Arielle Garcia. I'm at Twitter. I answer every message. And honestly, since I resigned in September, my first priority has been talking to as many people as I can, both to understand more perspectives, right? Having been on the buy side of the ecosystem, it's been really beneficial to also hear the sell side perspective as well, as I work to help come up with solutions that benefit the entire ecosystem. So reach out to me. I'm happy to chat.
That's incredible. Arielle, thank you so much. Lydia, anything you want to leave us with?
No, other than I hope we will continue to work together, because I think we'll have a lot of work and a lot of common interests and a lot of stuff to do. So let's get it done.